I now present to you the president of the class of 1996, Ms. Emily Shumway.
Ladies and gentlemen, aloha. 5 years ago, one of the most admired high school athletes in the nation lay paralyzed in a rural hospital. All he could remember was the sound of crunching metal and the feel of his own body crushed under the weight of his pickup truck. Before that moment of profound bodily injury, he had been on the top of the world of fame and glory. He had a full-ride scholarship to play college football. The prettiest school in school adored him. Teachers and parents and an entire community spoke his name with both reverence and enthusiasm. He was an All-American running back, a state champion wrestler, and an all-state baseball star. He had become a household name. Now that world was shattered, his spinal column severed, and his magnificent body decaying right before his very eyes. The shockwaves of this so-called tragedy were felt throughout the nation. Tyler Wilkinson would never play again. He would never even walk again. But if Tyler Wilkinson had been the hero of sports buffs, he is now the hero of every person who has faced challenges and pain beyond that which anyone thought they could overcome. Instead of moping or complaining or asking, "Why me?" or "Why did God allow this to happen?" Tyler set out immediately to conquer this adversity with the power of the only thing in life that we have control over, our attitude. Before, he measured his success by yards gained on the football field. In therapy, he measured his success by inches gained through hours of effort trying to push himself in a wheelchair. He wasted no energy complaining, but met every new challenge of his paraplegic condition with an attitude of adventure. Before, he could bench press hundreds of pounds. Now he struggled to grip and lift a pencil. One night he told his father, "For 18 years I was on top of the world, absolutely on top of the world. How could have I asked for more?" Then all of a sudden, in a matter of 10 seconds, it all changed, absolutely changed. But for the last 18 months, I've been on top of another world I would have never known about. Tyler Wilkinson realized one of life's greatest truths, as spoken by Charles Swindoll, quote, "We cannot change our past. We cannot change the fact that people will act in a certain way. We cannot change the inevitable. The only thing we can do is play on the one string we have. That is our attitude," unquote. If somebody walks up to you and knocks you out of your chair, that's their problem. But if they come back the next day and you're still on the floor, that's your problem. We have learned many of life's lessons at Kahuku, but the effectiveness and value of those things will depend on our attitude. Tyler's story reminds me of a famous Tongan proverb that my father often refers to, quote, "Oe lau kafo, lau lava," translated, "Consider not the wound, only the victory," unquote. That is, victory over whatever disadvantages we may think life has thrown at us. The famous author C.S. Lewis says in the play Shadowlands, "We are like blocks of stone out of which the sculptor carves the forms of men. The blows of his chisel, which hurt us so much, are what make us perfect." Many of us just barely fall short of overcoming our problems and weaknesses because we give up too easily. Our attitude is infected by self-pity or a lack of confidence in our ability to overcome. And we never know how close we may be to our goal. There is a story someone told me once about 3 friends who got caught in a blizzard in the mountains and were wandering with no direction through blinding snow, not being able to see even 1 foot in front of them. Exhausted and discouraged, they lost hope and fell over. They gave up. These 3 were discovered the next morning just 10 feet away from the front door of their cabin. Just 10 more steps, and they could have been sitting in front of their fire. We must accept that the purpose of this life is to overcome adversity, and happiness is not having no problems, but being able to cope with those problems. We decide, we choose whether we're going to sink or swim. During the darkest hours of World War II, when it appeared that England was about to be crushed by Nazi forces, when all the world was staring in hopelessness at what appeared to be the imminent destruction of this great nation, Winston Churchill, the Prime Minister, addressed his people in what has become one of the most powerful statements in our language of courage and faith. It was this speech that riveted a nation and knit the hearts of people who had virtually lost their will to carry on. The Prime Minister said, quote, "We shall go on to the end. We shall fight in France. We shall fight on the seas and the oceans. We shall fight with growing confidence and growing strength in the air. We shall defend our island, whatever the cost may be. We shall fight on the beaches. We shall fight on the landing grounds. We shall fight in the fields and in the streets. We shall fight in the hills. We shall never surrender," unquote. We can all have attitudes like this. We can all succeed. We all have the guts to overcome our problems. Some of them might seem so incredibly overwhelming or impossible to solve. We might be scared. We might feel unprepared. But who's the champion of the boxing match? The one who picks himself up after every slam. And who has the best football team? Well, we all know Kahuku does, but also the team that works harder and becomes more aggressive as they see themselves losing on the scoreboard. We are not failures just because we have failed in certain areas or think we can see ourselves failing in the future. Great men in history